Adams.
I appreciate this, man. I don't take this lightly. You boys are like brothers to me, and man, obviously we went through a lot of adversity, but at the same time, man, understand that the sun will shine.
Welcome into practice today, presented by SiriusXM. Ethan Greenberg and Eric Allen live here in Florham Park as the Jets prepare for their season finale against the New England Patriots in Foxborough. Earlier today, you saw the video just a few moments ago. Jamal Adams was named the New York Jets Curtis Martin Team MVP as voted by the teammates of him.
Hey, Greens, well-deserved. Let me put on my glasses for a second because I want to read.
The glasses make the debut here on practice today.
Well, listen. The eyes have gone, but the mind is still sharp. Let me read you a couple stats for you. He had 10 tackles against the Packers last week. Now he's got 104 stops on the year. That ranks fourth among safeties in the National Football League. But this guy has done it all this season. He ranks in the top 5 among safeties in tackles, sacks. He's got 3.5 sacks, so he's bringing the pressure as well. Forced fumbles, making momentum-changing plays. Pass defenses, 12. You know Jamal doesn't like to be thought of as a box safety, and he isn't a box safety. Tackles for loss. He's making those impact plays in offensive backfields. He's got 9. And quarterback hits with 8. I had to read that because it's staggering what he has done through 15 games, and this was well-deserved. Jamal Adams getting this honor from his teammates. I know the losing hurts him deeply inside, but if you have a number of guys playing like Jamal Adams in 2019 and beyond, this team is going to turn it around.
Jamal Adams voted to the Pro Bowl earlier this month, voted as the team MVP earlier today. What's been the most impressive thing to you? Because he's someone that clearly took a step forward, a big step forward in his second season. We saw it all the way back in training camp. Okay, that guy's probably going to break out. What's been the most impressive thing for you this season?
Well, you started the show by taking a shot at my eyes. I'm going to say that Jamal Adams' eyes have been better in year 2. He's been able to diagnose more quickly. He's reading what the defenses are trying to do in terms of attacking. He's such a sudden ball player, Greens, is that he gets there in a hurry, and he doesn't miss too many tackles, but what he's done in the back end, I read the pass defenses for you here earlier to start the show. That has most impressed me because what we saw early on in his rookie season, maybe a couple tight ends were making some plays against him. There are not a lot of guys who on Sunday afternoons or in prime time when the Jets get those opportunities are beating Jamal Adams one-on-one. He had that pass interference call last week against the Green Bay Packers, which was not a pass interference. I'm not here to rip the officials, but Jamal Adams, I think he's just made so many steps, taken so many steps in terms of what he can do coverage-wise. What do you think?
I have to agree with you because there was not knocks, but the question about Jamal was how is he going to play as a center fielder, as the guy in the back of the secondary, not so much the run stopper, because you know he's electric when he comes up in the box. And the pass defenses stat really sticks out to me, too, because it shows that he's really taken steps forward as a pass defender. And this week, Rob Gronkowski 4.0 now. Last year faced him 2 times. Earlier this year, I think that if it were a fight, you have to give Jamal Adams the nod. And you know Jamal Adams loves going up against Rob Gronkowski, as does Rob Gronkowski loves going up against Jamal Adams.
Yeah, Gronk was asked about that yesterday in New England. He said, this guy is always ready. And that's the thing with Jamal Adams. He doesn't need anything to go. He is always raring to go. And he loves these matchups against a Rob Gronkowski, against a Tom Brady. And he's played very well against Gronk after that first meeting, his rookie season. I remember last year, we ended the season, the Jets ended the season at Gillette Stadium, and Jamal Adams said, hey, listen, the weather doesn't bother me. Came out shirtless.
Yeah, that was some next level stuff. But Jamal Adams had a great year. There's no doubt about it. But let's rewind the clock to April, because this was supposed to be the year of Sam Darnold. Strap on the seatbelt. Let's see what the rookie has. Ride the ups and downs. And so far over these past 3 weeks, it's really been catching some heat. And I think if you're a fan, you have to be really excited and almost feel a little bittersweet that the season's coming to a close when Sam Darnold's playing his best ball.
I talked to Darnold about this yesterday. We've been doing some exit interviews with the players that we'll give the fans in the weeks after the regular season concludes. But he said it almost sucks that the regular season is reaching a conclusion, because he is in a groove right now. He has really found a zone, and you're just watching a confident guy with those quiet feet in the pocket. He's being very decisive with his reads. He's getting outside. He's taking yards down the field, picking them up himself, rushing the football. But Greens, we talked about his ability off script even well before he was a New York Jet. And you're seeing that more and more, where he's really making defenses play one-handed when he gets outside the pocket there, because he is very accurate on the move. And his stats indicate just how well he's played over the last 3 games. I think, a 66% passer?
66% passer, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, 764 yards. In those 3 games, has a passer rating of 106.2. And maybe, for my money, the most impressive, only sacked 5 times.
Yeah. And I was talking to Darnold about this yesterday, too, is that what were the questions about Sam Darnold in the pre-draft process?
Well, small hands.
Small hands.
Fumbles.
Fumbles.
Can he play in the cold?
Can he play in the cold? Answer, okay? Check. Because he has not had a strip sack in 2018, whereas that's just an unbelievable number in itself. So that tells you he's protecting the football. He's protecting the football in terms of the interceptions down the stretch. And the cold weather, it hasn't bothered him at all. In Buffalo, he went into a tough environment, a hostile environment in Western New York, led the Jets to come from behind victory. And then the last 2 weeks at MetLife Stadium, he's been up to the task against the Houston Texans and the Green Bay Packers.
Randy Lang wrote about this on NewYorkJets.com, so you got to check that out. Yep. More into Sam Darnold and the numbers. Also, NewYorkJets.com has the full MVP award, not the full MVP, the full
team
award
awards,
slate.
yeah,
the team awards, including the team MVP, Jamal Adams. Last week, when Sam Darnold and Aaron Rodgers went toe-to-toe, we looked at Aaron Rodgers' stats when he first started for the Packers and Sam Darnold's stats this year. Pretty similar, so let's do the same thing here for Sam Darnold, and let's go all the way back to 2001 when Tom Brady took over for the New England Patriots after Mo Lewis delivered a shot to Drew Bledsoe. And when you look at the numbers here, Tom Brady gets the check in completion percentage. Granted, Sam Darnold has 1 more game to play, so he could eclipse Brady's yards mark. But when you look at these numbers, pretty similar.
I would say he will eclipse Brady's yard mark. He just has to throw for, 200 yards this weekend at Gillette Stadium. So I'm on record saying he'll get that and he'll at least tie the 18 touchdowns. Actually, I think he'll surpass it. I say Darnold has
he's feeling it today.
Yeah, no, I say Darnold has a pair. You mentioned 2001. I was actually on the field in Foxborough, directly across from Bledsoe when he started running towards the sideline, and then it looked like he stopped for a second, and he took a vicious shot from Mo Lewis. And then the skinny guy out of Michigan, a 6th-round pick, Tom Brady, came into the game. Jets ended up winning that ball game 10-3, but little would we know at that time that the Patriots would go from there and win 16 of the next 18 division championships, including the last 10. This is an unprecedented run. Brady, obviously, we've been talking about this for years. Is he the greatest of all time? Of course you could make that argument that he is the greatest of all time. But 41 years old, Sam Darnold 21 years old, he's had a very impressive rookie season. And, as you know, Greens, he's talked about it always means a little bit extra when you face the game's greats. Last week it was Rodgers. This week it's Brady.
Darnold spoke to the media earlier this week, and he talked about Rodgers and Brady, what it means to go up against those guys that he watched growing up.
Yeah, I mean, there's always something there. Whenever you're playing Brady and guys like Rodgers and everything like that. For me, I grew up watching those two play, and dominate. So at the same time, it's obviously, I'm not just going to ignore the fact that I'm playing those guys. I know that I am, and I want to step up. But at the same time, every single game, that's my mentality. So from that aspect, you want to look at it and be like, oh man, I'm just going to go out there and do what I do. But at the same time, you want to play well when you're going up against those guys. Not that I don't want to play well when I'm not going up against those guys, but there is a little something extra there.
21-year-old Sam Darnold, of course he's excited to go up against Tom Brady and, of course, Aaron Rodgers last week.
Because he missed the first meeting when the Patriots came here to MetLife Stadium and took home that 27-13 victory.
So this is Sam Darnold's first time going against the New England Patriots. It will come in Foxborough in the season finale. But right now, EA, it's time to shed some tears because it's the final installment of In the Game with EA. I actually thought last week was a softball with the reindeer.
Come on, man.
What? The Irish Catholic. I thought it was good. I thought you'd be able to do it. But this one, I'm sure.
Painting me in a corner there. Labeling me. All right, that's fine.
I'm sure that you're going to get this one because the question is subjective. It is, what is your favorite play of 2018, or what is your play of the year? Please be sure to comment your answers. EA is going to give his answer later in the show. But let's take a look at this Patriots team a little more on Practice Today, presented by SiriusXM. Let's start with the Jets receivers, because who is going to have to step up for this team? Quincy Enunwa likely out. Head coach Todd Bowles said there's a slim chance he'll play. Bowles will also give the final injury report later today. Jermaine Kearse has not practiced this week with an Achilles injury, which means Andre Roberts, Tyrone Peake, and Deontay Burnett are the next three guys on the depth chart, and they've combined for 14 receptions this year, just for 146 yards.
Yeah, and we'll have to see if the Jets perhaps add somebody to the roster, add another guy to the wide receiver depth chart. But with that being said, your number one option at the receiver position is Robbie Anderson, who's really flourishing down the stretch. He's got more than 700 yards receiving. For my money, he would have been a 1,000-yard receiver this year, Greens, if he didn't deal with an ankle issue during the year. But he's feeling healthy right now, and that chemistry with Darnold is really coming together. He's got 6 touchdown receptions on the year. Nunwa, tough break. If he's not able to go this weekend, and then you mentioned before, Jermaine Kearse dealing with the Achilles. So it means opportunities for these other guys, these Andre Roberts, maybe Deontay Burnett and company, Tyrone Peake. And maybe the Jets add a receiver, so we'll have to see what happens. But the 2 top receiving options for Sam Darnold, I don't think they change this week. That's Robbie Anderson and the tight end, Chris Herndon.
And, of course, Eli McGuire out of the backfield can catch the ball. You've seen that over the past couple of weeks. I'm curious to see how Deontay Burnett performs if given the opportunity, because with 2 seasons at USC with Darnold under center and Burnett out wide, he had 142 receptions, 1,736 yards, and 16 touchdowns in just 2 seasons. Burnett was Darnold's top guy in college, and last week the USC connection almost won the Jets the game.
I thought Darnold was way too hard on himself.
But Deontay Burnett, you have to give him credit for coming down with the catch, even though he was out of bounds. In fact, Darnold said he felt like he was responsible for that play. Like you said, he even went to social media, and there's a photo of Deontay Burnett extending and catching it, and Sam Darnold's comment, my bad.
That would have been some kind of play. And if he tried to force it in there and it was just off by a fraction of a hair, that would have been intercepted because the linebacker was coming underneath. But hell of an effort by Burnett there. You're right about that. And we were wondering in the press box what the Jets were doing with their offensive packages there late, 38-35. Andre Roberts takes the ball back to the Packers' 38. You're in business. Darnold hits Herndon a couple times. And we saw Robbie Anderson out there, but we didn't see Jermaine Kearse out there. So then we found out later he's dealing with Achilles. So that's why Burnett was out there, and I believe Andre Roberts was getting run to at the receiver position late in that ball game with it on the line.
You mentioned Andre Roberts. Of course, Andre Roberts made his name for himself as a special teamer, a Pro Bowl special teamer, along with Jason Myers and Jamal Adams, of course, representing the Jets on defense. But Andre Roberts had a phenomenal game against the Packers, and really the past 3 weeks for him, too. as a returner, he's been stellar. And you look at the numbers here. He's first in the NFL in kick return yards, kick return average, and punt return average. And he's really provided a spark all season long. And for the Jets to win this game Sunday, he's going to have to provide another spark. In fact, Bill Belichick said that this is the best unit that the Pats have faced all year.
That's a great point. I think if the Jets have any hope of pulling off the upset, they got to make a couple of game-changing plays, either on defense or special teams. Maybe it's going to be tough getting takeaways from Tom Brady. You know about that, making him turn the football over. But the Jets' special teams going to be very interesting. Belichick has a lot of respect for the Jets and Brant Boyer's units, as he should. How are the Jets going to go about their business in terms of kicking at Roberts? I was really surprised last week when the Packers took that lead late in the fourth quarter. They decided to kick off to Roberts again after he had a 99-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. But, wow, you got to feel good for this guy. Fifth NFL team.
Ninth year,
30 years old, and he's got fresh legs.
And the Jets have to really beware of Cordero Patterson on the other side.
But I'm feeling good about you. Right? Go ahead. But I'm feeling good about the Gunners, man. I'm feeling good.
No, but not as a punt returner. He's only the
kickoff returner.
He's only the kickoff returner, and he's averaging 28 yards per kickoff return. He's second in the NFL, third in kickoff return yards.
Second to who?
Andre Roberts,
right.
the Pro Bowler. And Brant Boyer said earlier this year Cordero Patterson might be one of the best in the game. He probably is one of the best in the game. So the Jets really have to be mindful of Patterson. And Jason Myers hasn't practiced this week because of a left hip injury. And we talk about the field goals and the leg. Well, he's been a monster on touchbacks this year. So if Myers can't go, if someone else ends up signing with the team, they're really going to have to make sure to kick it out of the end zone so Patterson doesn't have a chance.
Yeah, it's a great point. And that's something he's been dealing with, that left hip issue, limited in practice this week. I guess we'll just see what happens. If the Jets have to call somebody up, it'd be great if he's out there on the field, because that's such an advantage for your coverage units when this guy's booming it through the end zone. And the Patriots have one of the best probably of all time in Gostkowski as well. So they'll try not to give Andre Roberts too many opportunities of getting that return game going.
All right, let's speed through this Patriots offense real quick, but also make sure to comment your play of the year. EA is going to give his answer later on in the show. We talked about this yesterday. When was the last time that the Patriots ran the ball this effectively late in the year? And they had 275 yards against the Bills last week, and then in Week 12, 215 yards against the Jets.
Yes. And
Sony Michel, the first-round pick out of Georgia, has really been the lead back there. He leads the team in rushes, rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, and he had 133 yards and a touchdown against the Jets in Week 12. And you look at his average, too, very nice at 4.5.
Strong words from the Jets this week, Greens. Casey Rogers said the guy should be embarrassed about what happened at MetLife Stadium when the Patriots came out and they put over 200 yards on the ground against this Jets defense. And then Leonard Williams, I like what he said this week, too. He said, you have to account for Tom Brady. He's one of the greatest ever. And you're going to obviously pay attention to everything he's doing back there. But what they see on film, it's a completely different offense. This is a Patriots offense that goes to Michel early and often, and they're seventh in the National Football League in terms of rushing, like you mentioned last week. 275 against the Bills. That's a crazy number.
And they average 5.8 yards a pop. So the numbers are there, and you have to be wary of Michel. You got to watch out for James White, and you got to watch out for Cordero Patterson.
Right, yeah.
Because he's gotten a lot of reps in the backfield as well.
The Jets have to stop the run this week. They have to stop the run, and then they can get after Brady, because Brady has struggled at times against the blitz this year.
The Jets have allowed an average of 116 yards a game on the ground over the last 3 weeks. Did very well against the Texans, against the Bills, and Packers let up a little bit. But this wouldn't be a preview show without talking about Tom Brady and this offense. Loses Josh Gordon last week. Josh Gordon stepping away from football. Yeah. We wish him the best. But the Jets have to get after Brady, like you mentioned, for many reasons. One of them, Jordan Jenkins and Henry Anderson both tied for the team lead with 7 sacks a pop. One of those guys has to win, right?
I hope so. You know, it's very interesting, though. People were wondering what was going to happen to the Jets' pass rush this year. It's been pretty decent.
16 sacks in 4 weeks.
And tied for 14th in the National Football League. So they have been getting pressure, and they've been very good on third down throughout the year. But Brady's going to get rid of that ball quick. I imagine you're going to see 33 on Gronkowski a lot. That's Jamal Adams, of course, against Rob Gronkowski. And then on the outside, the key matchup for the Jets will be how are they matching up with James White out of the backfield. And then, of course, Julian Edelman. Buster Skrine is going to have a big game against Edelman because he is a monster inside with those option routes.
And Neville Hewitt's probably going to be the guy responsible for James White. We'll see, because Darren Lee did a very good job in Week 12. James White only had 1 reception for 5 yards in that game. Real quick, I mentioned the Jets have 16 sacks in 4 weeks. In that same time span, the Pats have only allowed 4 sacks in 4 weeks. So a discrepancy there. But defensive coordinator Casey Rogers and head coach Todd Bowles spoke to the media earlier this week, and they talked about the Patriots, who apparently they do everything right.
They do everything so well. The thing is, they really execute on a really high efficiency. We just studied their third down, and they're over 50% in about every category, every down and distance. As far as completing third down, they're doing a great job running the ball. They just kind of well balanced and do everything on a high level.
Tom Brady hasn't even been posting his best numbers over the past few weeks, and yet they're still winning. In your opinion, when you look at the film, what's been the key to Patriots' success?
The thing when we watch them, is just what the game plan is for that week. That week, they might go in thinking they have to throw the ball a lot to win. This week, they might go into the game thinking they have to run the ball a lot to win. They're just kind of mixing it up, and each week is a different game plan from what we're seeing.
They've been doing a great job. I mean, week in and week out, year in and year out, coaching players, they've been doing a great job. That's all you can say.
How difficult is it to be in their division, Tom?
With our record, it's difficult to be in any division.
Yeah, you've been around the league.
It's divisions come and go. They've won it for a while. I mean, when you don't win, it's difficult to, regardless of who's leading the division. You just have to win your share and try to win them.
A lot of respect for the Patriots coming from the Jets defensive coordinator Casey Rogers and head coach Todd Bowles. It is time for the final installment of In the Game with EA. Again, the question, it's simple this week. What is the play of the year?
I don't know. It's going to be tough to argue against what Chris Herndon did last week against the Green Bay Packers.
That's fair.
That catch was really incredible. You don't see that every week. And that is on the top of my mind right now. But I go back to Detroit, too. There were a couple plays there that stood out. And I think about Andre Roberts' first return.
Yep.
First punt return score in 2018. And then how do you do a play of the year without getting your team MVP in there, Jamal Adams, or your young quarterback, Sam Darnold?
I know it's tough.
What are you going with?
Well, again, the Herndon thing sticks out to me, but I'm going defensive. I'm going on the defensive side of the ball. Do you remember Avery Williamson's interception against the Colts, I believe it was, when the ball was batted and he happened to be running by and picked it off?
Okay.
I thought that was a great play, great awareness by Avery to pick it off and, again, give the Jets a little spark on offense.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to go for, at least defensively. I mean, there are so many. But again, you have to choose one.
Well, give me a Darnold play when he's rolling out, and he's made a few spectacular ones, either to the right or the left to Herndon. Give me one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't count. Not one sticks to your head, sticks out to you.
Yeah, I told you. I'll stick with Herndon.
Okay, fine.
All right, fine.
All right, Chris Herndon, Avery Williamson. There we go. Avery Williamson got the Kyle Clifton Good Guy Award. Full article on NewYorkJets.com for all the team awards. Again, Jamal Adams, team MVP, as voted by his teammates, but we move on.
Listen, the most spectacular play, you have to say Herndon. The way he came out.
Yeah, the fact that he caught it.
Got down, took a pop.
Yeah, it was a great catch, but I didn't want to double down.
Okay, good.
Is that fair?
Yeah, good.
All right, it's time for the 2-minute drill here on Practice Today, presented by SiriusXM. Jets-Patriots, Sunday, 1 o'clock, season finale. Sam Darnold versus Tom Brady, Chapter 1.
This is the final time we'll get to see Sam Darnold in 2018 but he's really coming into this game on a hot streak, completing 66% of his passes with 6 touchdowns and just 1 interception over the past 3 games. He's being very decisive in the pocket. He's also a threat to make plays off script. I am really looking forward to this matchup as he goes toe-to-toe with the New England Patriots for the first time in 2018 and the first time in his career. Sam Darnold is ending the year on a hot note.
Sam Darnold missed Week 12 matchup due to a strained right foot. And in that game, the Patriots ran wild on the Jets, 215 yards, and Sony Michel accounted for 133 of those.
The Patriots rushed for 275 yards last week against the Buffalo Bills. Casey Rogers said when the Patriots came here and amassed more than 200 yards on the ground against the New York Jets, he thought they were embarrassed, and they should take that personally. Leonard Williams said, this is a different Patriots team. We have to account for Tom Brady, no doubt about that, but it starts with stopping the New England Patriots rush attack with Sony Michel, James White, Cordarrelle Patterson, and company. 7th in the National Football League. For the Jets defense to have success this week, they got to stop the run on 1st and 2nd down and then unleash those blitz packages against Brady.
This is Week 17. It's the season finale. The Jets have to finish and close on a high note.
You're right about that, Greens. And every guy to a man in the locker room has talked about, hey, listen, we want to end the year with our 5th win. The Jets have been in games lately. They easily could have won each of the last 4. Instead, just 1 and 3 in their last quarter of games. They've had fourth-quarter leads in each of them. The Jets have to find a way to close the door, whether that means getting a late score offensively or a big stop defensively. Let's see if the Jets are in this game late against a Patriots team who is treating this game like a playoff game.
Round 16 comes in Foxborough as the Jet season comes to a close. In just a couple days here, again, this is Practice Today presented by SiriusXM. Sunday, Pregame Central presented by Pepsi, Olivia Landis, and EA, 11 o'clock as the Jets and Patriots set to close up the regular season of 2018. We'll see you Sunday.